like to say thank you very much to Tony and the Atlanta Black Theater Festival for allowing me to perform this short reading. And I'm very honored. Like she said, I was one of the first participants on the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and the gratefulness I have for her allowing me this platform to tell my story, I can't even put it into words. So I'm very, very grateful for being here, and I'm very, very thankful for everybody that's here to listen to what I have to say. I call myself the dark-skinned activist. And basically what I wanted to do coming up as a poor, dark-skinned girl in the hood with a bunch of brothers, going through something that I call darkism, I decided that I didn't want to become a statistic like the people that I saw growing up around me in my neighborhood. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. I have 5 brothers, grew up in the hood, grew up in poverty. Just a lot of bad stuff happened, but you don't have to be a product of your environment. As a child, I was treated differently because I had dark skin. I was called all kinds of names, and it really affected me, and I didn't know how to articulate it. But as I grew into an adult and started to establish my worldview, went to college, I decided that when I was at the University of South Florida is really where I decided I'm going to turn this into a very serious movement to where it's not just something personal about me, it will focus on the world at large. And so I went to the University of South Florida, got a bachelor's in history and a master's in political science because I wanted to understand, why do human beings interact the way that they do? Why are some people treated differently than others? And so as the only dark-skinned and black woman at the University of South Florida in the political science program, I would always read about these white political thought leaders. And I said to myself, I can create a paradigm too. And this paradigm called darkism, I came up with because I had read a lot of the colorism scholarly literature, and it didn't go far enough to define the unique experiences that dark-skinned people face. So I started to develop dark-skinned activism on a more intellectual level. I had already written the plays back in 2006. I've written several plays. This is my main one, and I just wanted to continue to develop it from a social standpoint and an intellectual standpoint as well. So, channel, and I'm warning y'all now, it is very controversial. If you do go there, don't be shell-shocked, but there's multiple sides of me. There's the activist side, there's the performance side, there's multiple sides. Because what I learned is multiple sides of black people. It's multiple sides of dark-skinned black people. Not all dark-skinned women are the same. Not all dark-skinned women grew up in the hood, and some dark-skinned women are actually bougie. I've done my show more times than I can count, and I've had dark-skinned women come and they say, "Oh, I never experienced this." So we are not a monolith. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. I just want to give you guys a little bit of background. My website is darkskinactivist.com, and you guys have the brochure. I apologize for the scratches that's on in front of the brochure, but that gives a little bit of information about the play. This show is 1.5 hours long. I play all the characters. I do not plan on playing all the characters forever. I want to cast these characters, but they say necessity is the mother of invention. I play them because right now I can't afford to hire actors, so I just play them myself. So I whittled this down to 30 minutes. I hope you all enjoy it. A dark-skinned woman's revenge. I'm going to give a brief synopsis of each woman. They come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and they are here to tell what it's really like to be dark-skinned and female in America. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Sharifa Adams is 25. Sharifa is going through a nasty divorce from NFL football player Keith Adams, who left her for a light-skinned Latina woman. Keith hasn't paid child support in 2 years, which has forced Sharifa to get work as a CNA caregiver to support her and her 8-year-old daughter, Tay. She sometimes leaves Tay alone while she goes to work for a few hours. She's always pissed off about money and the divorce when she gets home. Sharifa hasn't gotten child support from Keith in over a year and had to take a job to support herself and her daughter. One day she gets home from work
I know damn well I told you to clean up this house before I left. Lord have mercy, I'm so sick and tired of this. He need to come and get your ass anyway. Don't want to pay no damn child support as it is, but he over there taking care of that white bitch. Them hoes been jealous of me for a long time. A lot of them old hating behind helpers had the nerve to ask me how I get a rich, black NFL football player to marry me. They act like I wasn't good enough for him. Like he should have been with some old light-skinned Spanish white heifer. Made me want to bust him in the mouth every time I saw him looking at us crazy. Please. Me and Keith met each other when we was in high school. And it wasn't on me chasing after him like all them other females was either. Keith came after me. We was the best male and female runners on our high school track team. That's why he loved me so much. He loved watching my long, muscular chocolate legs running around that track in them cut-off track shorts. He loved looking at my big old booty and them things. My biceps and my triceps was ripped. And Keith Adams had to have it. Yes. I remember the first time he said something to me. The boys' track team was just finishing up, and the girls' track team was just getting ready to get started. And when we walked past, he was like, "Baby girl, you looking good in them shorts." And ooh, I ain't gonna even must finna lie. I like to fight it, cause every chick in school loved us for Keith Adams. But I couldn't help but smile when he was like, "With your pretty chocolate self." Them helpers was hating on me when we got back to the locker room. They were just jealous because they knew that Keith wanted me. And it was on after that. We started being a couple during our junior year in high school. We was two of the blackest people walking around that school looking like the king and queen of Africa. And look, it ain't just make them helpers mad. It made them scared. See, they just couldn't understand. But bump them old hating behind helpers, because that was the best year of my life. And check this out. Not only was Keith a star on the track team, he was the star running back on the football team. So you know he had them helpers throwing it at him left and right, but I was the only one that Keith Adams wanted. And see, one day I had promised him we could do it on prom night without a condom. Yeah, I got pregnant right at the end of my senior year. Lost my doggone track scholarship, and that ain't funny. But me and Keith went on down to the courthouse and we got married. And you know, I stayed home while he went off to Alabama, stayed on a football scholarship. And you know, it was just me and little Keith Jr. with his little cute little chocolate stuff. Don't hate on my baby because he's dark skinned. Keith told me not to worry about that. You know, he was like, just stay at home and take care of his baby. So, you know, I ain't try to, you know, get back in school or nothing like that. But the first time me and the baby went up to see him, I almost lost my mind when I seen the new breed of heifers throwing their stuff at my man. Them heifers wasn't nothing like the dirty foot black and Spanish chicks I had to deal with in high school. Them white heifers in college had that cash. And they was buying Keith all kind of stuff. I'm talking about clothes, shoes, jewelry, food, anything he wanted. And I'm willing to bet all them name brand clothes he sent home for the baby. Them rich white heifers bought that too. And see, I tried to play it off, you know, like I ain't care. Because see, whatever money they gave him, he sent right back home to me and the baby anyway. But I felt like I was losing him to the rich white heifers. And it made me mad as hell. Made me want to bust him in the mouth. But honey, I put it on that nigga real good. Just before he got drafted into the NFL. And I got pregnant just like I planned. Delphine Huckleback. Delphine Huckleback is a 37-year-old, self-hating, dark-skinned woman. Her darkism troubles stem from the darkism she received from the black boys in high school. She grew up and married a white man and refuses to let her mixed-race daughter date black boys, especially dark-skinned black boys. Oh no. Your black ass won't take my daughter anywhere. Honey, sit down. Do it now. It's time you understood what I went through growing up as a dark-skinned black girl. I had been in an all-girl private Catholic school until my sophomore year in high school. You see, your grandparents said that they didn't want college to be my first experience with the real world. So I transferred to public school in my 10th grade year, and honey, it was amazing. There was no mass, no strict rules, but most of all, there were boys. Margus Hall. Margus Hall was an absolute dream come true. He was in my 6th period algebra class, and he was absolutely the finest guy in my entire school. He was tall, dark-skinned, handsome, and even had his own car too. A cherry red Chevy Impala. One day, Mrs. Bates, my algebra teacher, told us to pick partners to work with on class assignments, and I was still so new and I hardly knew anyone, so you can imagine how shocked I was when I turned around to Margus Hall's voice going, "Delphine?" Oh my God. He knows my name. He wants to be my partner. From then on, we worked on all of our class assignments together, and I was so nervous and I was excited that he wanted to be closer to me. He always told me how smart I was and how much he appreciated my help. He wasn't so good in math. Math was my favorite subject, and I helped him out all the time. I thought about him all the time. I dreamed of riding away into the night with Margus, his arms wrapped around me, holding me tight. But my 10th grade year ended with me being too nervous to tell Margus how I felt. I just sat at my desk watching the clock, waiting for the bell to ring, thinking of what to say to Margus, and then the bell rings, and all I could get my mouth to say was, "Bye, Margus!" It's like, "Bye, Delphine." And then he hugs me, and he runs out the door. Oh my God. He hugged me. I loved Margus Hall. I spent the entire summer thinking of him. I thought about how awesome it would be if we went to the prom together. Or what if we were crowned like the king and queen of the homecoming court? Wouldn't that be great? So it was about 2 weeks into our junior year before I saw him again, and he'd grown even more taller and even more handsome than the year before. But there were a few times I waved at him, but I guess I must have changed over the summer too, because he didn't seem to recognize me. But finally, one day at lunch, I coughed up the nerve to approach him, and he's sitting at the table with all of his friends, and I passed their table, and I pretended like I just happened to walk by. Delphine Huckleback from algebra class last year. Here's my number, give me a call sometimes. I stood there with this big stupid smile on my face, holding out that piece of paper. And Margus never took my number, and he and all of his friends just started laughing. I ran out of there to the bathroom. I just wanted to die. When I thought everyone was in class, I finally decided to go to class. I didn't care about being tardy or getting a detention. I just wanted to die. But when I came out of the bathroom, Margus and his friends were late going to class too, and they were walking towards me, and one of his friends saw me, and he said, "There she is. There's the gorilla." And then they started calling me Blackie, Tar Baby, African Booty Scratcher, and Midnight Fright. And then they all started laughing again. And for the rest of the school year, honey, I felt like this big, black, ugly gorilla, and they picked and picked and picked, and it never stopped, and Margus was the ringleader. And honey, I tried to avoid Margus and his friends as much as I could, but part of the reason that I was attracted to Margus in the first place, because we were both dark-skinned. I never imagined our similarities would make him not like me. Some days I just didn't want to go to school, and I pretended to be sick. And when that didn't work anymore, I started skipping school altogether, and my grades dropped, and my grandparents were furious. So I had to stop skipping school. But then one day I saw Marcus heading into the boys' bathroom. And my first instinct was just to run and go the other way. But for some reason, I decided to follow him. First Lady Glenda Applebaum. She's 45 years old, and despite being dark-skinned, 6 feet tall, and overweight, Glenda becomes a high-powered divorce attorney. Her prayers for a husband and family are answered when she marries a light-skinned, curly-haired, handsome pastor of a mega church. However, the discovery that her husband is leading a double life leads to the fight of her life for her marriage and her family. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Let the church say amen. Amen. Now, as the First Lady, Minister Glenda Applebaum, I would like to welcome you to our 10th annual Women's Day Holy Convocation Conference. And as the First Lady, I am honored today to share with you my testimony of how I fought the devil for my marriage, and I won. And I hope that my words encourage somebody today to keep fighting. I graduated summa cum laude from Harvard University's law school. I was making a 6-figure salary by the time I turned 26 years old, and by the age of 30, I was one of the most sought after divorce attorneys in the state of Georgia. I had everything I've ever dreamed of, except a loving husband and children. Now, I've never been in denial about why. I've always been a big woman, and it runs in my family. And, you know, at over 6 feet tall and 350 pounds and very dark-skinned, dating has always been an issue for me. It really started back in high school, where the boys always teased me about my weight, my height, and my dark skin. Matter of fact, my nickname in high school was the Big Black Lagoon. But instead of being angry at the world or resentful or insecure, I studied hard, I excelled in school, and I loved myself. And while there were those that did not consider me to be beautiful, I never let their opinions of me stop me from loving me. I am exceptionally intelligent, and I've done quite well. I have my parents to thank for that. You see, my parents are good Christian people who talk, pray, and believe that God created me in his own beautiful image. And even though it took some time, I always knew that God was going to send me a good black man. Now, I won't go pretending that I didn't become a little bit unsettled by the time my 35th birthday rolled around. I didn't have a man. I wasn't dating anyone. I had no prospects. Now, I did do a few things like joining a few dating websites, and yes, I ended up going on a few blind dates that friends and colleagues of mine had arranged, but nothing ever worked out. But it's like my mother would always say, "God need help." So I continued to enjoy my life, and I kept waiting on the Lord while continuously telling the Lord, "Thank you, Father, for the great successes in my career. But the true desire of my heart is to have my own family." Georgiana Nelson, 35, a mentally challenged, dark-skinned woman. She finds herself pregnant again with her 8th child, which prompts a visit with a new caseworker. The new caseworker learns about the darkism abuse that Georgiana endures at the hands of her family.
My name's Georgiana Nelson. I love my dad. He's my best friend. He takes good care of me and my brothers and sisters. I got a lot of brothers and sisters. My daddy worked a lot of jobs too, and my but she just cooked for me and wash my clothes. But she always hit me. She hit me hard. She don't like me. Everybody call me black and ugly. That's crazy. When I turned 13, my daddy came home from work and said to me, "Happy birthday, my girl." He bought me home a sticker ball. And he said I have to give nobody none. So I my daddy tired. Nobody ain't stayed me a birthday that day except my daddy. I love my daddy. My daddy said, "Give me some sugar." So I give my daddy sugar on the face. Then my daddy said, "Give me some more sugar right here." So I give my daddy sugar on the mouth. And he's so happy. I love my daddy. I love my daddy. One time my dad come home and he said he wanna show me how much he love me. He said, "Don't tell nobody, but daddy love her." And daddy said love's supposed to hurt at first, and then love's real good, but no, never feel good to me. But daddy like love, and I love my daddy. When I turned 17 years old, oh baby came in my tongue. I said, "Bad baby, you came in my face." He said, "So the baby ain't hurt me, so I ain't gonna say nothing about the baby. Cause I ain't want my dad to get in trouble." And then my mama hit me. She hit me real hard. She don't like me. She called me blacky and ugly and retarded. I'm not retarded. She said she gonna kill the baby and put me in a retarded people house. I said, "No, mama, I'm blacky. I'm ugly. I'm not retarded." And then one day I wake up in a bed, getting out my bed, getting out at my house, get out the house with a retarded people. My mom and dad don't love me no more. And then they gave me that nasty medicine and made me go to sleep all the time. And when I wake up, somebody on top of me. I was with my daddy, but you know I say nothing when I came, and then I screamed, and they covered my mouth, and then another monster got on top of me, 3 months. And in the morning, Miss Shay came in the room. Miss Shay, they came in my room at night, Miss Shay. When I turned 18, I was leaving retarded people out with another baby in my tummy. I had my baby in a bathroom at Burger King. And the ambulance came and picked the baby up in the hospital. They said, "I can't take care of my baby. I could take care of my baby." I had 8 babies in my tummy, and they took all my baby. Talking about I can't take care of my kid. I can take care of my kid. I'm gonna get all my kid back. Nobody don't love me. I'm a black kid and I'm baby. Nobody don't love me.
Beautiful and smart, the former patient's rights advocate for the mentally ill turned clinical care manager, Jojoma Legend 31, secretly struggles herself with mental health issues about being dark-skinned. It all comes out when Jojoma, the former caseworker for Georgiana, fills the new caseworker in on Georgiana's case history. In the process, she breaks down and reveals her struggles with darkism and the revenge that she took on those who treated her like trash for being too black.
I worked with Georgiana years ago when I was a patient's rights advocate at the group home she was in at the time. You know, I remember the first time I looked at her file, the level of abuse that woman has been through in her life, nobody should have to go through that. She's been raped by her father, other family members, mentally ill boys in the group home, strangers, men she trusted. She can't even read or write. Yet she's been forced into a life of prostitution because all she knows how to do is be black, ugly, retarded, and abused. Growing up, her entire family referred to her as Blackie, ugly, and retarded. Her entire family abused her. Uncles, cousins, brothers, even her own father. They all took advantage of her. They all treated her like trash, and I'll tell you why. Yes, it was due in part to her mental health diagnosis, which was bipolar and schizophrenia, but it also had everything to do with being dark-skinned. Her mom is a light-skinned woman, and she's always proclaimed to Georgiana how she wished her only daughter was light-skinned with hair that was easy to comb. And every chance she got, she showed Georgiana just how unloved and unwanted she was. Her mother knew about the abuse from her male relatives, yet she stood knowing, watching, yet doing nothing to stop it. I know all about that type of mother. I grew up with one just like her. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all listening. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
What's the next step?
To do another production. The last full production I did was back in 2020. So eventually I'm gonna do another production.
I'm gonna put a deadline on it.
That's right, you're right. Absolutely right. Yes, ma'am.
I really enjoyed it, as well as the uncomfortable, tragic situations that you were put in, too. And I thought about the Williams sisters.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
How did you study the voice for the one they had?
Oh, Georgiana.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Watching mentally challenged people, that's all. Just watching them. They're all over St. Petersburg, where I'm from. And seeing some of the people, that the way they were treated, and actually helping them. So, if you watch them and observe, I mean, you just pick it up. That's really it. Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it.
How many times have you performed this piece?
More times than I could count.
Wow.
But I keep rewriting stuff, so I'll change it, and then I'll kind of like get scatterbrained about what I changed. So that's what that happens a lot when I do like a reading like this, because I keep changing stuff around.
Hang in there.
What was the first time you performed?
At the Royal Theater in St. Petersburg. Yep, at the Royal Theater. I think this was in 2010. Yep. Yeah.
Do you think you've moved the needle in terms of sensitivity to the, what did you call it, blackism?
Darkism.
Darkism.
Yes, because I've combined it with the activism on social media, and so people will reach out to me and tell me their stories, or they'll interact with me. Sometimes it's negative, I gotta be honest, but a lot of times it forces the uncomfortableness of it forces a conversation to get to healing. So that's what happens a lot. So it has really evolved over time. Yes, a lot. Yes, sir.
How good does it feel when you find someone that you actually help?
Oh man, it's a wonderful feeling. I can't even put it into words. A lot of people out there, they're struggling and they're in pain. And it's not just dark-skinned people. It might be a light-skinned person that has a sister or a brother or somebody that they know that's going through something, and then they'll tell me the dynamics of their story. So it feels wonderful because I've always wanted to make an impact and a difference and help people, and this is one of the ways I'm able to do it. Thank you guys very much. I'm very grateful for you taking the time to listen. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much.